Hey! So, this video is about learning the notes. I learned the notes on the fretboard in 245 days by practicing 5 minutes a day. I followed the course for free, and today I will talk about the whole process plus some of my reflection about it. So, here we go. Before starting, I just want to give a bit of context about who am I. So, I'm Nadia, and I'm just a girl. And I wanted to show my journey of learning the guitar. So I started at the end of December 2023, and it will almost be a year in December. Today was maybe day 300 something. And today I just want to talk about my experience learning the notes on the fretboard. I just started to do this channel because I wanted to document the whole process and show to anyone that you can do anything by just showing up and practicing every day. And that's what I do with the guitar. So for the notes, I started to learn the notes with a free course, and now I'm able to play all the notes on the fretboard at minimum 60 BPM with the metronome. So if you ask me, for example, to do the A note, I'm able to do it without thinking. It just comes away, thanks to all the practice and the exercises that I've been doing. So for whatever notes that I practiced before, I'm able to do anything. And so the process starts now. I have absolutely zero background in music. I started learning this instrument, the guitar, at the end of 2023. And at the same time, I wanted to learn much more. I wanted to learn music because I've always dreamed of creating my own songs, like playing something. And so that's why I started the guitar. So now you're thinking, but why do you want to learn the notes when you're a beginner? Well, for me, it's very important to have a strong foundation. I was like thinking about what is a great guitarist. And as I was researching about it, I saw that one of the things was learning music theory. And me, as I am, never did any music. I was like, oh my god, what is this? I'm gonna be lost. I've always hated music classes when I was younger in school. I grew up in France, and it was my nightmare every time. And so when I was thinking about music theory, I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? I don't understand anything about the notes. I have no sense of rhythm. I have no coordination. How am I going to do that? It seems so complicated, even more complicated than learning Chinese. And so as I was doing some research at the beginning when I started learning guitar in January, because the first month I did all kind of research of what was the best course, which teacher to choose, this kind of stuff. And so as I was learning about music theory, there were so many stuff to consider. And so me, as a person who wanted to compose my own song with a guitar, I thought, well, music theory is so vast, so big, so where do I start? And that's how I came across this free course from Tommaso Zilio. Tommaso Zilio is a great guitarist and guitar teacher. I think he might be the most popular guitar teacher about music theory on YouTube. And after watching several of his videos, I thought, oh my god, I think it might be much more easy to learn music theory if I learn from him, just based on the video content that he was sharing online and how he was explaining very difficult concepts about music theory. And he came with many different courses about music theory, like where to start, how do I explain this and this and this. And as a beginner, I found that it was like understandable as someone who never did any music. And for the first time when I came across his content, I was like, okay, maybe I can see what I can learn if I follow his course. And that's how I found his free course that you can find online. I will put it in the description, about learning the fretboard, learning the notes on the fretboard by only practicing 5 minutes a day. Yes, only 5 minutes, no more. And you basically follow different steps that he laid out for you to make it as simple as possible. And you need to do it every day for 5 minutes. And then when you succeed at one thing, one step, one exercise, you go to the next. You go to the next until a certain point. It all depends on you. At one point, you will be able to learn the notes just like me. And for me, it took me 245 days by continuously practicing every day. I just want to mention something very important as well. As I was doing my research, I came across so many content that tells you that you can learn the notes in the fretboard in 30 days, in a week even, or if you do this kind of exercise, like kind of the things like are very fast. And for me, there is always this kind of, I'm not sure if it's true. It's just like saying to someone, you can learn a language in a week. Maybe you can get like the grasp of it, but is it really knowing for real? Is it really being able to talk that language? And I feel like it's the same with learning the notes. What I liked about the course from Tommaso is that it takes time and practice. You don't know exactly the time because it's based on you, how you learn every day, how you practice every day, and if you do the practice. Doing the practice is the most important thing ever. And so that's why I really emphasize about me learning the notes in 245 days, because everything is about practicing and about doing it every day. People really focus too much about the results. You have to enjoy the process of the practice. So during the process of learning the notes, I published every day videos of me practicing the notes and with different exercises since January. I started in January. And I was very surprised at how many guitar players who has been playing for years were like, but why are you doing this? Why are you learning that? And after reading about it, I saw that many guitarists, guitar players, I think there is a difference between the two. Many guitar players don't consider learning music theory. They think that it's something that is cutting their creativity or not fun or not useful, even worse, not useful. And I find it very weird to me because I think that practicing music theory and not learning music theory, like knowledge, is very different. Like when you practice music theory and when you have a good teacher, this is very important. When you choose a good teacher, practicing music theory is so useful, and also it makes your music experience much more interesting. It means that for me, for example, right now, I only know the notes so far. I started learning the triad recently, and there is like some bits about the songs I've been playing before or some exercise I've been doing before that I'm starting to understand. I see a bit more the connection about why this chord, why this one, this kind of stuff, like why is it a C chord here, this kind of stuff. And I don't know why people don't do that. They don't want to understand in a deeper way. And as someone who really want to be able to, for example, be a great composer or be able to be a great guitar player, I also want to be able to have strong foundation that I've practiced for so long that when it's time to create, it will come to me naturally, instinctively. And what I like about Tommaso's course with learning the notes is that at the beginning, you might struggle a lot. I was thinking so much like, okay, where is A on this string, on the E string? This is on the 5th fret, and then I have to read here. And it's so much struggle, it's slow. And I think that's why people don't do it. It's very slow at the beginning, but then on the long term, it's the best investment that you can do, that you can make for yourself. And that's why for me, like having foundation in music theory will make me a better musician in the future. I'm thinking much more long term than just now me playing a song and just play the song. I want to be both. I want to be a great player, a great musician, but also I want to understand what's behind it. And to go on with that, I want to give you a comparison that I like, that I thought about it when I was practicing. It's just like when you watch a football game, the players seems so impressive. Let's say Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. They're just very impressive in the way they play with the ball, the control, the shooting, the vision they have of the game. It's all about the practice behind. People see the game itself and the entertaining part of it. But behind every player, there is so many practice. They go to the gym every day. They go to play specific drills like kicking the ball, controlling the ball, running, this kind of stuff. They learn about the rules about football, the vision, the strategy, and there are so much behind it. And so people don't see the vision about the real practice behind everything that they see, the spectacle, the show. Behind every show, there is a lot of work. And it's exactly the same with learning the notes for me and learning music theory, anything. It can be music theory, it can be really practicing the finger placement, the chords, different type of exercise that people find boring instead of just playing. But I want to be able to do both, and it's very important to do both if you want to be a better musician, but also for you to be confident. When I started to learn the notes, I was like, it seems like such a big task. When I started to learn about music theory, I was like, where do I start? It's always this kind of information that goes, oh, it seems so big, so huge. And there is a comparison that I always think about when it happens to me, when I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die, where do I start? I always think about, wait a minute, if I have a burger in front of me, do I just eat it in one go? No, that's not possible. My mouth is too small. Well, it's the same thing with everything you learn. It's step by step. The burger, you eat it bite by bite. You bite it, the digestion starts in the mouth, then it goes to your stomach, then it goes, you know the rest. But it's every time one bite, you go, you wait, and then when you finish eating, you take another bite and another bite. And it's the same with the whole process of learning the notes for me. And that's why Tommaso Zilio's course is amazing, and I would really recommend it. He made it in a way that each exercise starts at one point, anyone can do it, and then the level of difficulty just goes up. It's just like taking the stairs. One step, 2-step, 3-step, and it's accumulative. That's why it's very impressive the way it's done, and it's free. I will put again in the description, I would recommend the videos on his channel explaining it as well. But the fact that it's free is amazing. I've been doing it and it's very successful. So you should start as well. Now we will see the process. Okay, so now let's go deep dive in the process. And for that, I thought about something very interesting because I love to read books about how to learn this kind of stuff. And there is something called the curve of competence that I always keep in mind. And it's like this. I made this. And it's basically the different steps that you can be in based on what you are learning. So, for example, in my case, I'm learning the notes. And for everything that you will learn in life, you're basically going through these 4 stages. And so, the first one is unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. And I think it's the phase where you make a lot of research, where you just like checking online what is right, what is wrong, based on the expert, the one who are much more in front on the journey than you are. And then you're starting to see the hints, you're starting to see the map. Because at the beginning you just have so much of land, for example. And you're like, okay, but where is this city and this city and this city? Where to go? Where to start? And so at the beginning, it's good to be here and to realize that you're here. Then, after making some research, in my case, I found Tommaso Zilio. So Tommaso Zilio, the guitar teacher about music theory for guitar. So then you're starting to be in the second stage, conscious incompetence. You're starting to, based on what he's saying, and also that other people, you'll be okay. So in music theory, there is this, there is the scales, there is the triads, there is the intervals, there is the notes, but where do I start? And so you're starting to be like conscious about what you don't know. That's a good stage to be, to know where you're going. So thanks to Tommaso, I knew that for me, the easiest way as someone who is a beginner was to starting learning the notes on the fretboard. And then adding up all the things, because it will all connect in the end. It's just like neurons, a word where you are here, and then it connects to this, to this, to this. So in my case, for example, right now I'm learning the triads, and the fact that I did the process of the learning the notes right now, it helps immensely compared to someone who doesn't know the notes at all and who needs to do both at the same time. So now I'm back to around here for the triads, but for the notes I'm here right now. So every time it's like a process for everything. The third one is conscious competence. You're starting to getting it. And in that sense, here it's the course from Tommaso Zilio. And I will put like some images of my failure and also what I did to be having in mind the notes on the fretboard, because he always say to not memorize the notes, because memorizing and knowing deeply is different. So basically, it's just like practicing. The fingers need to know without you thinking about it. And that's why it's the way he created the course is really amazing in that sense, because it just follows this. And it follows the curve of learning at the same time. It just every time adding difficulties. And so with the course from Tommaso, at the beginning, you're learning about the theory. So a bit like, okay, how many notes do you have? How does it work? The logic behind it, between the notes, then the sharp and flats. how is it on the fretboard. If I show you my guitar, so he explains like for each note, okay, this is F, and then after F there is G, but here it can be F sharp or G flat, this kind of stuff. And so you're starting to see the map without knowing it yet. That's what it's all about. Then you have the practice of the exercises. There are different kind of exercises, and then it all adds up. So at the beginning you're learning each note. So you're doing A, then when you get it right 3 times, you can do B, then E, etc., etc., until you get to that point of being able to do, let's say, I'm going to do G. Like here I made a mistake, so it doesn't count. I need to start again. Okay. Now I get it. What's next? Here it's fake, and you, at the same time it's false, and at the same time you recognize the sound because you have instant feedback. So it's great about learning and you have a lot of thinking at the beginning, and then you just adds up and do until you get it right, and then you go to the next step. That's why it's really great, the whole process in the way it's made. So it always challenges you to the point of learning and being better. So you do that for the whole notes, then the sharp and flats, then you add up the speed, because the speed with the metronome gives you another type of difficulty, and it just forbids you to think. And that's what it's all about, because at the beginning you're just like, okay, here, but then when you have the metronome you have to be on the beat, which means you don't have time to think. And that's great in that sense for music. And so you do that until one point you arrive at knowing each note at a certain metronome, like speed. So in my case, the last exercise was basically doing a random sequence every time until you get it right. And I can do it until 60 BPM or a bit more depending on what sequence it is, but I can do it right now and I don't have to think that much about it. And this is this stage, unconscious competence. At one point, when it was so difficult at the beginning, you come here to the unconscious competence. Your fingers know where the note is. So if I remember well, it would be like something, you realize you're unconsciously incompetent, then you realize you're consciously in incompetence, you don't know, but you know what to do. Then you're consciously competent because you're doing the work, and you go up to be where you are. That's why, for example, the experts who are athletes, they cannot express how they do certain things because they're not aware of it anymore, because they do it naturally, and you want to get to that stage. But to get to that stage, you need to go to the whole process. That's it for the process. I will share different stuff that I've been learning because I've been documenting journaling, documenting it online by doing videos. So every time I would follow the exercises, and you can see many videos of me failing. I will add some videos of me failing here. And then at one point I was doing the journaling on my side each day. Okay, what was difficult? Why? What mistakes did I do? It helped me like realize my progress at the same time. So it's a great thing to do. So now, after explaining how was the course and a bit of theory with the curve of competence, I want to talk about the process itself in terms of psychology, because many people, they're just giving up way too early in the process. And I think that's because they just see the results, they just want to get there, but they don't really enjoy the process of doing it. And I think that's what's missing. Realizing that first, there is no shortcut, and it's great that there is no shortcut. You just do the walk, you walk the walk, as they say, and you do the thing every day until at one point you gain experience, you know. And the whole thing is basically about enjoying that process of learning and getting there. That's the gift. The gift is not the results, because yeah, right now I know the notes at 60 bpm, I'm happy about it, and what now? What? It's not finished, it's not done, I go to the next thing. And now I'm going back to zero, because I'm learning the triads. I'm doing C and G on the triads on the fretboard, and it's difficult again, and it's fun. I think including fun in the practice is the best way for you to continue practicing. So that's why I also share so many of my failure online every day. It's because I want you to realize that you need to embrace the failure. And also, if you fail, that's it. That's okay. You just be like, okay, I failed today. So many times for the notes, I was frustrated, and I was like, that's okay. I will continue tomorrow. I will succeed tomorrow. And then sometimes I would fail 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row. And I would be like, oh my god, just 5 minutes, but so annoying. And then I realized, okay, but you're having fun right now. Even though it's difficult, I think it's good to have some humor in the practice. You just laugh at yourself when you fail, and you move on. And then the day after will be another day, and you will learn something again. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail. But at the end of the day, it's all accumulative. The fact that you do it consistently is the key for your success. And the result that you want, you will get it only if you do the work. So now I think it's time to show you directly that I can do the notes at 60 bpm. I have no random sequence prepared. I will just go with the flow and see. Oopa! See, I made a mistake, and that's fine. That's okay, and I can restart again and again. I just know that I'm capable of doing it at 60 bpm. Right now I just did it randomly. I wanted to do, okay, next time I'm just going with the A note. And I tried, and I mixed myself, and that's fine. And I just want to show that it's okay to fail, but it doesn't mean that you don't know. Right now, I know that I know the notes on the fretboard until a certain point. I'm still practicing when I do warm-up. I also practice a bit more the sharp and flat notes, because I'm still a bit behind compared to the full notes. But at the end of the day, I know the notes enough to do something else. You don't need to get the perfection. You need to do the work until a certain point, and then go to the next thing. And the fact that you go to the next thing will just make everything that you learn stronger. So yes, that's it. And I showed you. And last, to end that video, I wanted to talk about the benefits of doing this kind of work. I think it's very necessary for people, whatever it is. For me, for example, with that experience, it was the notes, to learn something difficult, because you need challenges in your life. right now we live in an era that is great for so many things: technology, internet. So many things are easily accessible, but at the same time it just robs you from confronting obstacles in a way. And so I think it's great to being able to choose your own obstacles, your own challenges. For me, I decided that it would be learning the guitar. With that video, it would be learning the notes. And as you can see, I did it for months, from January, and I finished this learning, I think, at the beginning of October in total. So you can see the whole year. But 245 days, what is it for all the years that I will be playing the guitar? Imagine I'm like 80 and it's been decades that I've been playing the guitar and I learned the notes in a few months. That's nothing. That's why it's very important. And at the same time, it helps you be more confident about the things that you cannot do. It proves you that with practice, you can do the thing. But at the same time, it needs to be with play, with humor. You need to be playful about it. Don't be that serious. Just practice and have fun. Enjoy the process, and you will get there. So that's it. And I hope it gave you the the kick for you to do anything that you want. Bye, and see you for another one.